This is a diagram of the flow of data through a construction company. Projects are won with the estimator. The work is done through construction management. Accounting does bookkeeping and reporting, and the owners or upper management will review the big picture. It's best to view these four departments as all running in different directions, and they all, therefore, would need different types of software. Estimating software works in the future. Construction management software works in the present. Accounting works in the past, reporting what was done. And owners and upper management would control the whole system. In order for the software to understand what is actually being done, the computer needs a code of accounts. And there are two basic codes of accounts that are used in a construction company. The accountants, they use the chart of accounts, and estimators will use the work breakdown structure. And there's already a common work breakdown structure used in the construction industry, and that is CSI numbers. You've more than likely seen these somewhere before. There are a set of numbers that are assigned to each traits with a hierarchy of the top number being the trade. So this is O8, doors and openings. And then as you go down and add more numbers, you get to more finite details. So 11 is considered metal doors and frames. 13 would be hollow metal doors and frames. And then you get to the specific custom metal doors and frames. All of these divisions would have a similar structure and breakdown, allowing the estimator to do detailed estimates down to the task, recording the times, the materials, and the equipment needed for constructing anything out there. So this system of numbers is already used by architects, engineers, capital projects, government projects, and large commercial projects. And I believe it is in a construction company's best interest to use the same numbers that the industry use, so you all have a common language communicating to, say, large end clients or the engineer and accountants that are giving you the plans to do your work. And the best way of getting this information is to purchase it from RS Means. RS Means is a database now owned by Gordon's, their parent company, that sells estimating data for virtually everything out there that is being built today. And they upkeep it every year. And they align those costs to the CSI numbers that I just showed you. So not only do you get the best work breakdown structure available, they also provide the hours that it will take to do any individual task, the labor mix. For example, if you're pouring a foundation, you would need a carpenter, two finishers, and a laborer, along with a skid steer and its operator. All of them combined would be the labor mix and the material cost to do the work. But I would suggest doing your own material takeoff to come up with the dollars for materials and using your actual labor rates for men and machines and just focusing on the hours that is provided by RS Means and the work breakdown structure to set up your estimating system. Which would bring us to the next question as to what software should we use for estimating? And most companies start with using Microsoft Excel. But the issue with Microsoft Excel is it's basically made by one person, your senior estimator. And when that person retires, most of that knowledge leaves with you. If you are interested in a more dynamic software, one that provides accuracy, consistency, and transparency even after your senior estimator leaves, I would suggest researching on-screen takeoff software. With on-screen takeoff software, you put the plans that you're going to build into the computer, and then you scale those drawings and redraw those drawings with your mouse. Basically, you would come over here and select one of these options. This is B for our wall, which is go with color blue. Then as you draw these lines, the computer collects all the measurements for you and does all the math. And it'll do your entire takeoff that way. You can record inches for doors. You can record lineal feet for walls. If you see the shaded in square foot areas here for floors or ceilings, And all you have to do is add in a new equation to come up with ceilings and slopes or cubic yards. As long as it's done mathematically, the on-screen takeoff software will record it accurately, and the computer does all the math for you. This is a great labor savings for estimating software compared to coloring in a blueprint, taking the measurements, doing the math, and then data entering that into Microsoft Excel. That would be riddled with human error that does not exist with this software. And since you're not doing any of the math and measuring, you're just drawing lines, it is extremely more efficient and time saving, improving your accuracy, consistency, and transparency. You could actually have a junior estimator do this and not pay the senior estimator to do the busy work. But when you're done, you print this drawing out, hand it over to your senior estimator, and they can review to make sure everything that was done. Because once you estimate it, it is here forever. You know what was done and what wasn't done. When you purchase RS Mean software, it is not automatically in the on-screen takeoff software. That is something you should hire a software developer that is well versed in construction software to set up for you, as opposed to having a senior estimator or a junior estimator set up all this computer systems and expect them to have it done right the first time. You would then be paying someone to learn how to use software and set up software, as opposed to having somebody that knows how to do this and get it done the first time, which is something that I am very well versed at doing, is embedding RS Means into any kind of on-screen takeoff software that you wish to have done. And I will be able to train your junior and senior estimators on how to use this system and maintain it and keep it working efficiently through the lifetime of your company. So not only is paying the wrong person to set up your software a common issue in most companies, another issue most companies have is not purchasing the correct software for these four departments. As said earlier, they are all running in different directions. And it's my experience in most companies, the construction managers are the last people to say, I need more software to do my job, as opposed to estimators and accountants who do need software in order to do their jobs. And if you are not firing off of all four of these departments using the correct software, estimators work in the futures, construction managers work in the presents, and accountants work in the past, then you end up having a snowball effect, and all these departments start to fail one after another after another. In my example, the construction manager not knowing that the battle is in the data in the software setup and doesn't speak out as to what type of software they need, which they probably wouldn't even know in order to join this loop correctly, then the accountant feels their lack of software, and the accountant suggests what type of software for the project manager to use. But accountants work in the past, and their software is extremely rigid, where the construction manager works in the present, and they need a more fluid, flexible software to be able to change on the dime and see the effects immediately. So then the accountant suggests getting project management software. But project management software is not construction management software. Project management software is glorified accounting software because that's the direction the accountant is running in. And it's also rather expensive. So in the software setup, the accountant speaks out and says, this is the type of software we need, which then forces the construction manager to work as an accountant. And becoming an accountant is not the construction manager's best interest in getting the job done. One way of knowing that you're working in project management software as opposed to construction management software is dollar signs. Accountants work with dollars. Construction managers work more with hours. Now I'll get into more details on this in a bit, but first let's discuss what type of software the construction manager needs. One of the more prominent software packages out there to use would be MS Project, seeing how it's already compatible with all Microsoft systems. And as Microsoft upgrades their software, they upgrade Microsoft Project along with it, not needing any more extra steps to keep current with any upgrades that Microsoft uses. And Microsoft's Project is scheduling software, not cost control software. And another way, other than dollar signs, to know that you're in the right software package is they have Gantt charts. With a Gantt chart, it is very easy to change an 8-hour day to a 10-hour day and then quickly see your deadlines shorten in one keystroke. Whereas an accountant would use something more as a calendar and you would have to adjust each line item individually. Again, they are more rigid, these are more flexible. Or you could easily add a 3-month lead time for a product and watch which trades are pushed out and which trades you can still work on to keep up with your schedules. But one of the best abilities of working with scheduling software is the input is work breakdown structure and the output is the chart of accounts. And this is done by using the milestone. Your milestones shown here with these lines is where your chart of accounts comes in. Think of this as first draw, second draw, third draw. So in order to hit your first draw, you have to have these two tasks done and start on this task with a good portion of these done. Your second draw is done once this task is complete. And this is not one task, this is a whole line of tasks that need to be done in order to close this whole assembly out. And again, shown over here, once this assembly of tasks are all completely done, you are able to bill for your third draw. This allows construction managers to work in the work breakdown structure, tag off individual tasks until they complete a whole assembly of tasks. Then the computer automatically pings the accountant and tells them it's time for them to start billing. So in this example of software development, the project manager ticks off all the tasks, including the labor, equipment, and material needed to complete those tasks until they fill up an entire assembly and hit the milestones. And then they trigger the chart of accounts for the accountant, telling them it's their turn to act. Now, as you probably already noticed, QuickBooks is the industry standard for accounting software. It's the cheapest, and you don't really need anything greater than that. And any competent accounting firm would be able to easily input your data out of QuickBooks and into their system. Now, as you could imagine, setting up the software development for this to work efficiently would take quite the accomplishment. And this is another service that I am happy to provide. I should speak a bit more of the software setup down here. Once the estimate is put into the scheduling software, you could print out a date book of all the current tasks that need to be done, which can easily be put into a 3-ring binder, allowing the construction manager to just fill in the labor mix and hours, possibly any material, and then have a data entry clerk put it back into the system. Now, the prerequisite for a data entry clerk is to type accurately. Typical data entry clerks are paid considerably less than a construction manager, and they put information into the computer a lot quicker than your typical construction manager would. One important point, though, is that the data entry clerk should speak the same language as the guys in the field. So hiring a laborer that can type accurately, or maybe an apprentice, or even someone interested in becoming an apprentice that is eager to learn the field as your data entry clerk would be a better fit for this position than paying a construction manager who types with 2 fingers and doesn't wish to be a slave to a computer. And calling this data entry clerk a project engineer would entice an eager, ready to learn employee to take this position, seeing how they'd be able to put project engineer on their resume. And then make it this project engineer slash laborer slash data entry clerk's responsibility to print out all the tasks that are to be done, get them to the construction manager so he could have a binder of his daily work, and then put that information back into the computer by noon every day. This could be something as easy as a construction manager taking a picture of it and sending it to your project engineer, while getting all of the previous day's information into the system. To fill out the rest of this project engineer slash laborer's 40-hour week, you could then send him to the field to actually learn a trade and to be an extra hand if any issues that may come about. CSI number stands for Construction Specification Index. These are also the numbers that are used in the specifications. So using them as your computer's code of accounts allows your junior estimators and even your accountants to dig into information deeper, seeing how they know exactly where to go in the specifications to find further information. They are also designed to be sorted into a tree type hierarchy of the order of operations, sorting out what tasks needs to be done before the next, before the next. Like here, O1 is temporary facilities and access, O2 is demolition. So getting access to the job site before you start demoing is the first step in your order of operations. And as you go down the tree, in this example, the first thing you'd want to do is get rid of the asbestos and then go into opening the walls so you could get the larger equipment out, any materials your client wanted to recycle, and then carry on to the building shell. These operations could happen simultaneously with the site preparations, where you're clearing the site first and then removing any additional structure. That tree hierarchy is critical. Here you see the site construction happening alongside of the building construction, and the site preparation happening first. Here's a milestone indicating that the site preparation is done once the project engineer filled in all the tasks to complete these two assemblies. Here's a milestone telling the accountant that the site clearing is done once these two assemblies are filled. Here is your next milestone showing that the equipment removal is done. This milestone is indicating that the site demolition is complete, and this milestone is indicating that the building shell and the whole job is complete. Now, this is a simple example, and many jobs may be more complex. The more complex your work breakdown structure is, the better your scheduling software you will have. Now, I'm trying to emphasize my point of the importance of using these CSI numbers to provide this complexity that already exists for your industry, not requiring you to pay your employees to come up with a different computer coding that's not nearly as intricate as this one. As a software developer, this is crucial for getting the computer to understand the work that you are conducting. Plus, there's additional time savings with having this tree hierarchy already provided for you when entering the estimate into the schedule. Mapping out this hierarchy would be the scheduler's first task, and it's already done. This is 90% of the work of taking your estimate, putting it into the schedule. You just have to do a couple little adjustments and you're up and running. As a software developer, I can't stress enough the importance of purchasing these RSMeans codes for your system. They are literally the key catalyst for transferring information from department to department. Let me discuss the workshop that I am offering. I am willing to do the software development to set up a fully operational estimating software package, embedding RSMeans into on-screen takeoff that an estimator could just start using right away, and then provide the training for that estimator to work on it and also maintain it. There are 4 parts of this workshop, each taking roughly 3 months long. 3 months to set up your software and train an estimator how to use and maintain it. 3 months to set up your software for construction management and train your employee on how to use and maintain it. 3 months to set up QuickBooks or load the modules needed to work this system efficiently, getting the computer to do as much of the accountant's work as possible. And another 3 months over here for the owner or upper management, where we can do a cradle to grave analysis, giving you the ability to embed your historical data back into your estimating software. So it's all right there at your fingertips the next time you do an estimate. That's 3 months of software development and training for estimating, 3 months of software development and training for construction management, another 3 months for your accountant, and in the last 3 months for your owner. Now, some of these will overlap. Once you win a bid, that's when we need to start working on your construction management software. And soon after that is when you want to start working on your accounting software. And as long as you're in this circle, I will be training all 4 parties involved. So even after the estimator's 3 months are up and you're over here in accounting and your estimator needs some assistance, I will be available for any training needs that they need as long as you are still participating in this whole system. Let me explain this in a bit more detail. Not only does the estimator need to know how to use this system, they also need to learn how to maintain the system efficiently. After they understand how to maintain it, they need to know how to pass it on to the construction manager. This is where the 3 months come in. So once the construction management starts and after the software is set up, you have to train the construction manager how to use the software, then train them how to maintain the software efficiently, and yet then again, one final step on how to pass the software on to the accountant. Now we set up the accountant's modules to accept this information. The accountant needs to learn how to work in this as efficiently as possible. And then the accountant needs to learn how to pass that information on to the owners or managers to do the cradle to grave analysis once the project is complete. One other service being provided within the 3 month time frame for the accountant would be any sort of software development tweaks that need to be done that may come about during this time. For example, in order for the software to be entered correctly into QuickBooks, we may have to change some of the items on how the work breakdown structure is set up, and the estimator would need software development again, which you have already paid for. So as long as we're in this 3 month time frame, I can come back here and do any tweaks needed, and then follow through and make sure that data is working correctly to ensure that your accountant is working as efficiently as possible. And then back again up here with the owner and upper management, we will go over how they want to see their expenses done, how to complete the cradle to grave analysis, and any software development needed to put those results back into the estimating software. And once again, there will more than likely be some tweaks that need to be done throughout the whole system during this time frame, which I would be more than happy to do while assuring training and accountability throughout the other departments, making sure it all works correctly. As long as you are within the 3 months paid for allowed. So as you see, this may be a learning experience for all parties involved, and I will be here to hold everyone accountable to ensure the whole system is running smoothly, giving you the assurance that you paid the right person for your software setup, instead of paying someone to learn how to use software and learn how to set up software while they set up your software poorly.